0.7% in the red in today's session. Yesterday we were down around 1%. Banks led the losers in yesterday's session. What are we looking at for today?
I mean, absolutely, Eleni. As you mentioned, the market today was down by 73 basis points. However, on a year-to-date basis, the market has still been up quite strongly. We've seen the market appreciate by 11.4%, and the Nigerian all-share index is actually one of the best performing frontier markets on a year-to-date basis. But I mean, our expectation is that in the short to medium term, we should see a reversal in the short-term trends because the fundamentals, we believe, are there for a continuous upward movement in the market.
Well, Shuaib, do you think we're going to start seeing significant resistance from these levels onwards?
I mean, I don't believe so. I think that there are four key drivers in the market right now. Firstly, we expect a strong result, especially from the banks. We also expect strong corporate actions from these banks as well, and the financial sector in general. Secondly, we've seen AMCON pretty much buy out all the NPLs from the bank's books as at 31st December, so that the year-end numbers that we should see from this bank should be much better off, and they should obviously post the profits back into their bottom line. Thirdly, is we expect some M&A announcements pretty soon. The CBN had recently mentioned that 4 of the rescued banks should sign MOUs with their M&A partners pretty soon. And then lastly, we've also seen some significant interest from foreign portfolio managers as well as local institutional players.
Well, Shuaib, just taking a look at the most recent rate hike, bringing interest rates in Nigeria to 6.5%. Pretty much a surprise. Many were of the view that it was going to remain on hold. What kind of influence is this going to have on the money markets and, of course, the yields in Nigeria? And clearly, it's also going to have an impact on the banks.
Absolutely. I think that the impact will be on twofold. The first is, in the short term, we should see some appreciation in the short end of the money market yield curve. We think that yields should generally appreciate by between 25 to 50 basis points across board. However, we think that the impact will be moderated in the medium term. What we think is that, in fact, we may see a reversal, because one of the things that CBN also did was to increase the liquidity ratio by 500 basis points from 25% to 30%. So obviously, we expect banks to start piling into government bonds, which should drop those yields in the medium term as well.
Well, let's touch on some of your stock picks. You're looking at the likes of flour mills and Dangote flour. Any particular reason that you're looking at the flour sector at this point? I mean, just looking at the overall global food scenario that is playing out, we've seen food prices generally up around 30%, and also the likes of wheat and maize increasing significantly over the past while.
Absolutely, Eleni. We've pretty much seen appreciation in food prices over the last 2 years, and obviously that's going to have a positive impact on the numbers for these companies in the sector. However, in flour mills and Dangote flour, I mean, they pretty much dominate the market. Flour mills controls around 50% of the market share, and we think that the valuation relative to the other companies in the sector is significantly underpriced. So we should see some opportunity for some appreciation in the medium to long term.
Let's touch on some of those banks. I mean, clearly the banking sector in 2010 was the sector that everyone spoke about, and some were bullish, some were really worried about getting in too soon. 2 stocks that you are looking at, Skye Bank and the likes of Diamond Bank. Any particular reason that you've picked those 2?
I think obviously they're growth banks. I think they would have they would benefit significantly from the NPLs that was bought back by AMCON. Obviously, that should be reflected back in their bottom line, and we think that their management team is quite strong. Their balance sheet is robust, and we think that overall, in terms of valuations as well, if you look at the projected PEs and the projected growth rate, is a lot cheaper than some of these other banks most of the other banks in the same sector. So that's why those are some of our picks for that sector.
Fantastic, Shuaib. Thank you.